Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. The Sicilian defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center to prepare for a d4 pawn push, where the knight will recapture if black captures on d4. d6 opens up the light-squared bishop and prevents white from pushing the pawn to e5 after black eventually plays knight f6. d4 offers to trade the d-pawn for the c-pawn, giving up a center pawn for more active pieces. C takes d4 gives black 2 central pawns versus 1 central pawn for white. Knight takes d4 recaptures the pawn and activates the knight in return for having 1 central pawn, versus black's 2 central pawns. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Knight c3 defends the e4 pawn and starts to develop on the queen side. a6 prepares the queenside pawn advance b7 b5 and also prevents white from playing the bishop or knight to b5. Bishop e3 supports the strong d4 knight in the center. e5 takes space in the center, attacks the knight on d4 and allows the dark squared bishop to develop to e7. This move puts the knight on a safer square. The opening development is progressing well. This is a fair move. Developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. One of the best moves. This is the strongest option. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This is not the right idea. Castling kingside tends to be safer than queenside, because the king is further from the center. Castling to the same side of the board is a more cautious approach. The rooks can see each other now, allowing them to provide mutual defense. Right on target. White activates the last piece, bringing all pieces into play. A very strong play. A solid choice. This connects the rooks, which helps them work together. This move puts the pawn on a safer square. Black activates the last piece, bringing all pieces into play. One of the best moves. A very strong play. That's fine. The knight finds a new active square. There were worse moves, but also something much better. Takes back. Very precise. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This wins a tempo by threatening a rook and forcing it to move away. The rooks can see each other now, allowing them to provide mutual defense. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. This defends a knight that was under attack and had no defenders. This threatens to tactically win a knight. Now black can't stop white from winning a pawn if they make the right moves. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by pawns as it tries to promote. This misses a better way to tactically win a pawn. This move puts the rook on a safer square. This overlooks a better way to tactically win a pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to recapture a piece. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. Recaptures. This is the strongest option. The game is still close to equal, but black lost their advantage. This is a fair move. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board. This threatens to create a passed pawn. This protects an underdefended pawn that is under attack. That's fine. This misses an opportunity to take an open file with a rook. Advancing the pawns in front of the king can compromise the king's safety. This moves the knight to safety. This forces the opponent to isolate a pawn. Takes back. This wins a tempo by threatening a knight and forcing it to move away. This blocks an attack on a rook. This is not the right idea. This threatens to tactically win a rook. This overlooks an opportunity to create a pawn chain. This threatens to win a pawn by removing a key defender. This attacks a queen, winning a tempo when it moves away. This move puts the queen on a safer square. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This misses an opportunity to move a knight to safety. This threatens to win material because the defender is pinned. This wins material. This threatens to win material through a tactic. That knight was free for the taking. Right on target. This wins material. This blocks black's pawn. This threatens to win material through a tactic. This moves the rook to safety. This threatens to tactically win a bishop. This moves the bishop to safety. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. White's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This takes an outpost, a square where the bishop cannot be kicked out by a pawn. This allows the opponent to eventually win material. This misses an opportunity to win material through a tactic. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. This wins material. This captures a bishop that checked the king. That rook was free for the taking. This threatens to play checkmate. This is the only move that works. This defends a rook that was under attack and had no defenders. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. Recaptures. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. This is the only good move. Very precise. An active king is critical in the endgame, and getting it off of the back rank is the first step. The knight now occupies a secure outpost. This evades the check from the knight. A solid choice. This evades the check from the knight. This takes an outpost, a square where the knight cannot be kicked out by a pawn. This defends the attacked pawn. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This is the strongest option. Black was better off, but now their position is winning. This is the only move that works. The bishop finds a new active square. Right on target. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. This defends the attacked pawn. This threatens to win a rook through a fork. This stops the opponent from being able to win a rook through a fork. One of the best moves. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This stops the opponent from being able to win a pawn by removing a key defender. Very precise. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. The knight now occupies a secure outpost. This is the only good move. This defends the attacked pawn. A very strong play. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. This move puts the rook on a safer square. A solid choice. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. The knight now occupies a secure outpost. This is the strongest option. This loses a knight, but the position was losing no matter what. That was a free knight. This is a fair move. This removes a pawn that put the king in check. This wins a bishop. Right on target.